You might think to yourself, gee, why is Danelle showing me an elephant when she's talking about humanity? And I'm going to tell you why. There's a parable that maybe you've heard about 4 people who were blindfolded, and they were sent into this room, and this room had an elephant. So, each one of the 4 people went in there and experienced a different part of the elephant. So, they were asked when they came out to report and talk about and explain what it is they saw in there, or they found. They didn't see, right? They're blindfolded. So, one said, it was like a trunk of a tree. Another one said, it was like this enormous leaf. Third one said, it was like a solid wall. And the last one said it was more like a big snake. Now, they were all very accurate in what they were reporting, weren't they? Absolutely. However, their experience was of the same thing from a different perspective. And the truth was, it was all one. So it's like that elephant in the parable. Religion is a very large and a very complex phenomenon. And people who try and define it, take a part of it, part of that animal, if you will, and define the whole in terms of the part. So, religion is commonly known as a strong belief in a power or powers that control our human destiny, or an organized approach to human spirituality, usually encompassing a set of narratives, symbols, beliefs, practices, those that give meaning to a person's life, to their life experiences through that higher power, through a truth that they believe in. I really love what Reverend Nathan read at the beginning about help me. Unitarian. Thank you, Unitarian Universalism. Thank you. Because it is so broad, and it encompasses everybody. Everyone can relate to something in that particular piece. Same thing with what I'm going to share now, and that's from Ernest Holmes in this thing called life. He said, there is a universal wholeness seeking expression through everything. We are simply calling it life. The religionist calls it God, and the philosopher calls it reality. Life is infinite energy coupled with limitless creative imagination. It is the invisible essence and substance of every form. In its nature is goodness, truth, wisdom, and beauty, as well as energy and imagination. Our highest satisfaction comes from a sense of conscious union with the invisible life. All human endeavor is an attempt to find such an inward wholeness that all sense of fear, doubt, and uncertainty vanishes. Nobody's wrong. We're all after the same thing, right? It's the words we use. It's the semantics. We simply see life from a different perspective. I've had people ask me in the past, what religion am I? Well, basically, and when people ask you that, what they're looking for is how they can connect with you, something that's similar, right? Something that tells them you see the world the same way they do, because we like that comfort. However, when I say to people, I'm all of it, it's very confusing. Very confusing for them and they aren't sure what to do with that. How do you ask another question with that one, right? Well, which one in particular? All of it. It is so different from the structured box that our culture has put us into. We're so accustomed to giving names and labels to things that we don't comprehend it unless we have that label or that name. So I figured the next time I'm going to try this one. When someone says, "What religion are you?" I'm a child of the power and the presence of the universe. You? What? Right? How do you argue with that one? We do want to connect, right? So in truth, and actually, here's the religion that I believe in. I believe in goodness. I believe in kindness. I believe in compassion, and I believe in love. Now, I grew up in a very fundamental, traditional religion. Hellfire and damnation and fear, and boy, that really shook me as a kid. And as a child, I was pretty much forced to attend church. And what I learned was this. I learned early on, don't ask questions. Believe what you're told. Now, that did not work well for me. If you know me at all, I ask questions, I need to know, I have to understand, and I want to explore. So that just wasn't my forte. So I left when I was probably, 13, 14, and but I took a lot with me. I took a whole lot with me. What I took away was, be a good human being, be nice to others, love God, love yourself, love the planet, love the world, love. And I think that's something that we can all take. Once I had children, I had some thinking to do, right? How am I going to raise my children? Well, putting the fear of God into them was the absolute last thing that I planned to do because it was uncomfortable for me. And for me, God is nothing but unconditional love. So I didn't want to confuse them. So I stayed away from religion, I stayed away from church, and I taught them to be good, kind, honest human beings. I felt like that was the best thing I could do. I took some noise from a lot of people because I didn't have them in a structured environment. And I think we all know that children learn more by who you are, by what you do, than what you tell them. So time went by, and I was probably in my late 30s, and I ran into, accidentally, religious science. And I started studying religious science, which is where I met Nancy, so many years ago. And their philosophy was something I could connect with. I understood because it incorporated everybody. And the love was not just one particular group, it was everybody. And I really did appreciate and love that and really connected with it. Eventually, I started understanding that, wait a minute, I was meeting people from different traditions, different religions, and I thought, wait a minute, we all have that in common, the core. It's all the same. And so then I ventured out and started studying different religions. And how grateful I was to be able to do that and ask my questions, right? To learn, to understand. So, when my daughter was about 10, Kimberly, I thought I'd better check in and see how I'd been doing. Because all these years had gone by and I thought I was doing the right thing. So one day I said to her, and Kimberly, who am I? Who am I? I wanted to see if she'd been paying attention, okay? And she didn't say anything, but she went in the other room and she wrote me a poem. And she called it A Poem About You, and I'm going to share that. Remember, this is from 10, a 10-year-old. When I look deep inside you, I see hopes, dreams, and love. You love yourself. You know you can do anything. If you look deep inside yourself, you might see something different. Whatever you see and like in you is you. But I can't say who you are. Only you can. Now, I think she was paying attention. I'm just saying. Isn't that the answer for all of us, though, to who am I? I mean, that's still, 18 years later, and that poem still gets me. Rather profound for a 10-year-old, absolutely. Absolutely. The idea of taking responsibility for your own person, the idea of being a good human being, of embracing humanity, taught some really young human beings to love and to fear, and to love and to honor instead of to fear and be judgmental. I did a fine job. Thank you very much. It's our differences, though, that is one of the healthiest and most invigorating of our human characteristics. Without those differences, our life becomes mundane. It becomes hollow, almost. We can't all be the same. How much fun would that be? The power is in helping ourselves and others to see possibilities inherent in other viewpoints, in encouraging the exchange of ideas, in welcoming fresh approaches to the problems of life, because we all have them, and in urging an openness to that self-examination. That's about taking that personal responsibility for where our life is and how we feel and how we see the world. To embrace humanity means to accept our life situations as they are right here and right now, ourselves and others as well, simply as they are in the moment without judgment. I'm not naive. I know that's not something that we're going to do 100% of the time. However, we can be aware, we can be cognizant, and keep ourselves aware of how important that is to be in the moment, to be without judgment, to be in love instead of fear and judgment. Being fully human means to express and honor our emotions, both the ups and the downs. Not pretend they don't exist. Making decisions without worrying, is this the best one for right now? Just do it. It's about looking our fear in the face and confronting it. Moving through that fear to see what's on the other side of it, because there always is something fabulous and wonderful on the other side of that fear. You have found that out. I know you have. We've all had that experience. And it's most important that we allow others to have that same opportunity. That's embracing humanity. Be who you are, and I love you through it. Being open to the present puts a face on reality and the freedom for us to let go of those judgments and those so-called security of our preconceived ideas. We don't even realize sometimes how deeply set those preconceived ideas are. Choosing truth, choosing our truth, takes a great amount of courage, and it takes a great amount of self-confidence as well. And it requires great humility to face ourselves honestly, to own our strengths, to own our weaknesses, our compassion, our dark side, our generosity, our rigidity, our love and our fear, and allow others the space to do the same. Letting go of our defense barriers frees our energy up to become more creative, more life-affirming. The divine then can flow through us a lot easier, empowering us, reminding us, embracing who we truly are. When we truly embrace who we are, that divine manifestation of the one power and the one presence in the universe, of which is my religion, my new line, we can then embrace others in that same light. We need to know it for ourselves first. And that's our mission here at Common Ground, right? To embrace humanity, our humanity as well as the humanity of others. One of the most important elements of life is the recognition of our shared humanity. When we're in touch with our common humanity, we remember that those feelings of inadequacy and disappointment, as well as joy and happiness, those are universal. They don't belong just to us. The pain that we feel in difficult times is the same pain everyone else feels in their life as well. Sometimes we forget that. Triggers might be different, circumstances might be different, degree of pain may be different. However, the basic experience is the same, human to human. Whether you're here in the United States, or whether you're in Africa, or whether you're in Asia, it's the same. We are all human beings. So let's be excited and be glad in our shared experiences and in our differences. That's how we grow. No matter how they show up, let's be grateful. Let's be grateful that we can learn through our differences, through our sameness. Let's be more understanding, less judgmental. There will never be a better time than right now for us to embrace our common humanity. I think right now it's more essential than it ever has been in my personal lifetime. So let us meet all of our neighbors with love, with kindness, and with compassion. As I close this morning, I want to share with you a Zulu personal declaration that was composed in South Africa in 1825. Bless you. And here it is. I am alive. I am conscious and aware. I am unique. I am who I say I am. I am the essence. I forever evolve inwardly and outwardly in response to the challenge of my nature. I am the face of humanity. The face of humanity is my face. Wow. That is embracing humanity. Thank you for being here this morning while I shared this truth as I understand it.